then there are other interesting things that I do. I eat a lot of plants. We've discovered that there are molecules in plants besides resveratrol that are healthy. And we actually think that these molecules are signaling to our body to turn on these natural defenses. We call it Xenohormesis, Xenohormesis. Remember, hormesis is what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Xeno means from other plants and other species. And by eating plants that are colored and stressed, and by stressed I mean they've been picked when they're dehydrated or too much sun, or organic foods, they're typically more stressed than those that are in under pesticides. Those give us those molecules that I think add to the other things that I mentioned.
First of all, we have a theory that bears out, which is eat foods that are stressed out, which is a weird concept, right? But we do it naturally. We drink, some of us drink red wine, which is a stressed grape before we pick it. We often eat colored foods. So spinach is a dark green food. There's blueberries, which are dark. The whiter ones are not as good. So why is that? Well, stressed food produces a lot of what we call xenohormetic molecules. And I'll explain what that means. It's a terrible word we coined, but xeno, X-E-N-O, means from other species. Mm-hmm. And hormesis is a very important word. You got to remember the word hormesis because every day you should think about it. Hormesis is what doesn't kill us, makes us live longer. And it's a term that means you've got to get your body out of its complacency. You've got to trigger those defenses, those longevity genes. So xenohormesis is you don't have to only run and eat well at the right times, but you can also get these molecules from the right animals and plants, but particularly plants that are stressed. Because when plants are stressed, they're making these molecules of health for their own benefit, right? They're trying to survive. They're turning on their longevity genes. We forget plants have longevity genes too. Mm. So a stressed plant will make these colored molecules to protect from UV and dehydration. When we eat them, they trigger our own body's defenses, and you can get the benefit. So that's nutrition, colored foods, stressed foods. Organic is stressed, right? You don't want the perfect lettuce that's been not put any stress. Mm. And we need to do more of that. We need to let our plants stress a little bit before we eat them.
So you're stressing your body. It's like, what do I do? And what it does is it starts to like change gene expression. That's one of the main things it does, where it starts to turn on all these genes involved in, helping your body deal with stress, because you're stressing it and it's like freaking out. It's like, what do I do? It's like, okay, I'm gonna do this like whole thing where I just go around and turn on all these really good genes that help me deal with everything until I figure it out. You know?
So it can be beneficial, is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you said that turmeric does something similar, I think, in one of your...
Yeah, so there's what this process I'm talking about is often referred to as like hormesis, right? Like a hormetic effect, where you're putting a little bit of stress on the body, and the same goes for exercise, the sauna, cold shocking.
So higher intensity interval training is another example.
Exactly,
of that.
high intensity interval training, and also some of these plant polyphenols. So turmeric, EGCG from green tea, quercetin found in like onions.
So do you intermit that? So my question I have one question for you. I know it's your show. I feel bad. On the turmeric side, like, is that something that you would do intermittently then? Or would you, because some people take it daily as a supplement, and I was thinking, well, if you're doing that every single day and your body gets used to it, is it going to turn on those gene expressions then?
That's actually a good point, but yes, it does, because it is slightly toxic to our body. Our bodies don't like turmeric. It's some of the compounds, some of these curcuminoids in the turmeric are made as a response to the plants to fend off like insects and fungus and things that are going to kill the plant. So, or the root, I guess. It's not really a plant, right?
It's a root.
It's a root, right? Yeah. So our body doesn't like it. It's slightly toxic. It just like alcohol is slightly toxic. But as a consequence, it activates all these phase 2 detoxifying enzymes, which are involved in preventing your body from converting something like nitrite in your bacon to nitrosamines, which are carcinogens. Right. So we have all these enzymes in our body that are capable of detoxifying. I hate the word detoxify because like a lot of woo-woo people use it, but we actually do have enzymes in our body called phase 2 detoxifying enzymes. Yeah. And so they do serve a purpose. But not only that, turmeric also, so there's two really interesting compounds in it. One is the one that most people are familiar with, right? So that is the curcumin, right? And that's the one that turns on all these anti-inflammatory genes, these phase 2 detoxifying enzymes, all that good stuff. But there's also something in it called aromatic turmerone, which is why specifically I like to get turmeric or make turmeric tea and not just curcumin, because aromatic turmerone has been shown actually just in the past year to cross over the blood-brain barrier and increase, I think it was in the subventricular zone, increase neural stem cell proliferation, and it affected like memory and performance in mice. And so this is like all preliminary, you know, but, and it was like a very robust, like it was like something very robust. I'm not gonna say the number because I don't remember, but it was pretty significant increase in new neural stem cells, which is kind of your area. But yeah, very interesting.
That was what my thesis was on.
Oh, cool.
I did the SVV.
Oh, the subventricular zone. Okay, so that you know more about that than I do. But the fact that this aromatic turmerone in turmeric is in turmeric, it's also very interesting.
Do you add black pepper to your tea?
Yeah, so the piperine, the component in the black pepper can. So our bodies like to get rid of these polyphenols, and a lot of them, like EGCG, a lot of them are on the same class. There's certain enzymes in our liver, the CYP enzymes that get rid of it. So that's why their half-life is very short. When you get turmeric in your body, your body's immediately trying to clear it out because it's toxic. It's like, no, get rid of this, you know. But the piperine stops that enzyme from working. So you really have to be careful for people like you guys are very health conscientious and probably don't, you know, take prescription drugs or things like that. But a lot of people do, and prescription drugs are also metabolized through that same pathway. So if you are taking a prescription drug, probably best to avoid piperine because that will extend the half-life of whatever drug, and God knows what effect that's going to have, right? So that's always something to keep in mind.